Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Heal Profoundly and Enduringly. It's been a while. Thanks to summer and vacations and fabulous beach time. Yay, let's celebrate it. Today, I'm so excited to introduce you to Vaughn Pierro. She's a multidimensional healer that uses breathwork and sound, so yummy, as a pathway for your transformation. Through a pattern of connected breath, shamanic elements, and channeling healing language of light, another one of my favorites, she guides you into an etheric experience of healing mind, body, and soul. And today she's going to be talking to us about breathwork, emotional attachment, and the impact on the body. So welcome. Thanks for being here, lady.
Thank you for having me. Like you were saying, I was like, everything just lights me up so much because this is healing, right?
Yeah. Just being together, like just bringing two people together who are connected to different dimensions, always thinking outside of the box. Like the expansion is limitless. And when women come together, when anyone comes together on this path, it's just the magic just continues to unfold. It's so exciting.
Yes, yes.
So I always start this show with the same question. So let's dive in, which is, what is that one thing that you feel is necessary to heal profoundly and enduringly?
Deeper connection to self.
So what does that mean to you?
To me, that means when we are able to connect deeper to ourselves, we have all the answers we need. Our body is constantly communicating with us. Through our body is how we connect spiritually to a higher source. And so everything is like through that deeper connection to self for you to receive everything that you need to know, because you are your own healer. You have everything you need within you to heal, and just have to know how to access it and be open to access.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And it's so funny because every single time that I do get to that serious depth within myself, I notice that there's more.
Always.
Right. So it's like that deeper connection to self. And it's like, all right, I went deeper. And now I'm being called to go deeper. And again, yes.
Yes. Because it just, we as souls, as spiritual beings living here in this human experience are meant to evolve and grow. Our soul wants and needs to grow and evolve. And when we do not do that, that's when that energy stays stuck within and we suffer. It causes literally dis-ease in the body. And so it's so important that we keep moving and expanding and growing and learning, and so that we can go into the ethers and see what this world is really about, like just keeping that mind open to explore. What's that?
Yeah, no, I love that so much because it's so funny. This is what's been kind of coming through for me this morning, is like the idea of boundaries and the idea of only making myself available for those experiences that encourage me to continue dreaming and fantasizing and saying like, fuck reality. I get to create reality however I want. You know what I mean? Like, it's so beautiful. And to realize that there are no bounds on that. And so being able to allow lovingly those things to fall away that are holding you in that stagnancy or are not supporting that fantasy world.
Yeah. It's my favorite thing to say lately is it's okay for you to expect miracles.
Yes.
Like we get so caught up in like, we're caught up in our day-to-day life, but we forget that things can go above and beyond our current reality. And I just got off of a retreat weekend where I hosted 11 women and had like the most epic experiences. Like it was so incredible. And these women, like they came here, they were all women that are on this path of personal growth and spiritual development and all that stuff. And they're at a great place, but they want more. And I'm like, yes, because that's what you have to want more to be able to receive more.
Yeah.
And the motto for the whole weekend was expect miracles. Like there's no reason why you not receive miracles if you are open to receive them.
100%. And that's the thing. Like the more that I dive into that and the more that I open to that, the more amazing things come into my world that there's no way in hell my human mind would even fathom. Like, had no idea that that was available to me. And I'm like, what is this that just dropped in? Holy cannoli, that's available to me? Okay, let's ride.
Exactly. I mean, growth journey. Well, it started with I had leaky gut. Like I've successful massage therapist for over 20 years, and I just kept feeling that intuitive nudge that there was more. I was supposed to be doing more, but I was like, no, I'm a massage therapist. That's what I do. That's who I am. And I can't stray from that. But it's like that intuition was just saying, there's more, there's more, there's more. And because I kept ignoring that intuition, my body was like, listen, girl, you're going to listen now. And so I got so sick. And in that journey of healing my leaky gut, which, by the way, our gut health is so associated with our lower chakras. Our chakras are the filing cabinets for our emotions. When it's like, oh, I don't want to deal with that right now, I'm just going to shove it in and forget about it, or pretend that didn't happen, or I'll deal with that later. It goes in those lower chakras, because those are like our physical, human, worldly experiences that we store here. Everything like from the heart up is more spiritually connected.
Right.
But so your gut health really is so attached to your emotional health. And as I was healing that, I was like, whoo, that's what started my healing journey. And one thing, my healing journey led into a personal growth journey, led into a spiritual journey. And one thing led to another. And I've really only been on this path for 5 years. And the way that my life has so drastically changed over the past 5 years is mind blowing. And so I'm always like, use me as an example. I'm just a girl. I'm just a mom living out in the burbs, had my business. And now I'm like this wild, living my best life healer that I didn't even know this life existed for myself.
Dude, you are so speaking my language. I swear to God, because this is exactly what freaking happened to me. I mean, I've been a therapist for 20 years and it was like, no, I'm a therapist. I stay in my box, and then I got freaking sepsis 6 years ago, almost died, and started to explore all of this, right? Because I was like, one of the doctors were like, you're just going to keep getting worse. I was like, yeah, I don't see that for myself. Started diving into Reiki, the Akashic records, all this lovely stuff, right? And I was like, wow. And it literally got to the point where I was like, feeling not just, I was feeling irresponsible not sharing all of the depth of this work with my traditional therapy clients, because I was like, I know it's going to help you, right? It's way outside of this box. And that's why I was like, peace, because my entire life has changed. I'm a completely different person than I was. And it's so brilliant to return to the essence of who I am and to be able to just allow myself to like play and be exuberant and joyful. And the more that I do, the more I get this amazingness that comes into my life. It's so phenomenal.
Yeah. It really is mind blowing, because we are so conditioned to put limits on ourselves, like, oh, okay, that's not possible, but once you like peel away the layers of the fear and the stuckness and the things that were weighing you down, and you just keep expanding and expanding and expanding, that's when the magic happens. Like, that's when you're in this world that you're like, and that's when you're living in like a 5D world, honestly.
Yes.
3D is where we're like, you can look around and you pretty much know everything that you can expect. Like you can open a door, like, I know what's going to happen behind that door. But then as you like rise in consciousness, and then you're hanging out in the 5D world, you can open a door and you're like, I don't know what's behind this door, but I know it's going to be exciting because I am so loved and supported and guided to be opening this door in the first place.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, everything is just a beautiful opportunity for you to explore life and what's next beyond your comprehension.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And so, all right, since we're talking about breath work, let's go back to it, right? We could probably talk all day, but tell me how breath work assists with that, like assists with this journey and expansion and all the goodness.
Oh my gosh. All the things. Like, this is my most favorite topic in the world, because breath work single-handedly has been the #1 healing modality that has transformed my life. It has been the tool that literally goes into your body and clears out stuck emotion and energy. And as you are releasing, you are becoming more free and more free and more free and more free. And so that is the ultimate goal. That's what everybody wants, is to feel free. And when we're attached to things, that means we are attached to things and we are not free.
Yeah.
So let go, let go, let go. And that's, but the only way we can let go is to literally move it through our body.
Right.
And my work has evolved so much through using the breath. You know, I started out with my breath work training and certification.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like where you lay there and it's like, okay, you breathe and you're laying there and you're releasing and you're like, oh my God, this is so powerful. And it is so powerful. But now the way I use breath work is in combination with connecting to your body and like move to these movements, these very intuitive. There is no structure. I'm not telling you, okay, now move to the left or move to the right. I'm telling you to use your breath. Okay, so this is what happens. Like with the breath work journeys that I can take you through, in about 10 to 12 minutes of really working, that's where the breath work is you're working for the experience. It doesn't have to be hard. Like breath work isn't hard. There's some modalities that are hard, but the way I use the breath is very gentle on the nervous system. It is very calming. And within 10 minutes, if you do what I tell you to do, you are in another realm of consciousness. You active meditation. And then once you are there, that is when you are able to get out of your mind into your heart. Your breath is literally being used as medicine. So you're still breathing, but your breath is very intuitive and knows exactly where those stuck, stagnant parts are in your body. And so it just intuitively goes straight to maybe that area where you shoved something down when you were like 5, you know, like a memory where you're like, oh, I didn't like the way that person made me feel. And then that became like a belief that you're holding into your body. And that breath is like, oh, you don't have to hold on to that anymore. Let's just move that. And then you stir it up with the breath and then you exhale it. It's all about the exhale.
Yeah.
And then you release it. So you're like, and yes, you might be releasing through tears or through screams, but dear God Almighty, you are letting go for the first time ever. And it's freeing and it is empowering because you remember who you are, you know, like those forgotten pieces of yourself. And then you just realize how much you've been holding on to. And now you can be like, oh my gosh, I can let that go and I can love myself through it. And it becomes truly like a self-love journey. I always kind of joke. I was like, I was very confused between self-confidence and self-love. I had this self-confidence. Like I was a confident girl. I, you know, had a great family. I've had a successful business. Like everything was really good in my life. But at the end of the day, I did not love myself unconditionally. And that's really what self-love is learning to love yourself unconditionally. And that was the missing piece. Was I had so many judgments and self-worth. I mean, I just had so many limitations I was placing on myself. So how could I possibly follow my intuition into something, you know, that I'm currently doing now? Because I did not love myself enough to believe that I could do it. I could be that version of myself.
Yeah, I love that so much. And I love that you're using the body as a tool to do that, because I think what happens most of the time is that when we get to that place where we feel stuck or we realize that we have that awareness, oh my gosh, I don't love myself, we dive into analysis, we dive into trying to figure it out, right? And I'm not saying that there isn't a place for that, because there's certainly a layer there for sure. But being able to really use the body to excavate it allows you to, when you do go in to process it, kind of know where you're going, right? To have more clarity, to have more space to do that. And that's what I remember from the first time I did a really intensive breathwork session, is just feeling like I had so much space. I'm like, I just have so much space within me. And it was clean space. It's like I have this like fresh, new, clean space within me to bring in all this energy, these ideas, this creativity, connection. And I also love, like, I'm picturing you doing this with these 11 people this past weekend, right? And I'm like, that is just so powerful. To do it in community is even better, right? Like, doing breathwork by myself is a totally different game than doing it with other people, because it's just like, that's where I feel like really empowered and held and connected. And there's an intimacy, even if none of you freaking talk to each other, there's so much intimacy in the room. It's beautiful.
It's like the most beautiful thing I could ever witness on it. For me personally, the beautiful thing to witness is a room full of people surrendering into each other, into the experience, into their screens, and holding each other and supporting each other. And just like, it's amazing. But I want to touch on like what you were saying about the space. That is exactly how I describe it. It's like we have all these knowings up in here, and it's very and to be very heady with everything that we do. And with clearing out this, it creates that space for everything that we know, like even gratitude. Sometimes like we can, like, I know, oh, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for this life and for my health, whatever. But until you feel it here, you're not really feeling it. Like you're being grateful, but you're not vibrating at that gratitude. And so you have to clear out that dense stuff so that all these knowings, all the things that you have in your head, the feelings that you have in your head can drop down into the body, and then you can move forward as that version of yourself. So it truly is like an embodiment practice.
Well, so I was just going to say, thank you for very clearly defining embodiment, because that's exactly what that is, which is so brilliant, right? Because we throw these freaking words around all the time, like, oh, embody your highest self and all the shit. And half the time people are like, I don't even know what that means or how I do that. So I love this because you're inviting people, like, it's literally that simple, humans. Like, you have your breath, it's automatic, it's right there for you. And you get to teach them basically just how to intuitively connect to their own, so that they can listen to their own body's messages and move with it, rather than resisting it and like directing it because we have a human agenda.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Connected from ourselves and that guidance that is within us, because honestly never been taught to breathe correctly. I mean, when we breathe, it's very much in our chest. And once you can drop it in, like once you can break through that little barrier right there and drop that breath deep into here, and then let that breath move through you, that's the game changer. It really is. It's like, how are we not taught this from the moment we come out of the womb?
That's the thing that kills me, right? And this is what I always return to, and it helps me so much. I don't know why, but it just resonates with me, which is looking at infants breathing, right? Because infants breathe with their bellies. They breathe the right freaking way. Like, we are born knowing how to breathe. And then between ages 6 and 7, we start becoming aware just developmentally of like other people in comparison, and like our own self-consciousness and our own presentation and all of that. And our breath starts shifting more and more shallowly. And literally you can see that when you have children or you engage with children on the regular, you can see that transition, and it's so beautiful to me to like, not just get in touch with my inner child, but to really, when I'm breathing, get in touch with what I am naturally wired for, right? Which is putting my hand on that lower part of my abdomen and allowing it to move in the way that I was designed.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And there, like when every class I teach, I have to remind each person every single time, no matter how many times they've breathed with me, it's like, okay, now we're not, because a lot of people want to be like, and I'm like, no, that's not it. We're poking that belly out. We're bringing the air, the oxygen, the nutrients into, not, we're going. It's just, but it's so hard for us to comprehend because we do not breathe that way.
Yeah. Can you teach us a little bit about how to use the breath as our medicine? Because I love that word. I love the fact that this is our medicine, because it absolutely is. And I would love to just hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So for me personally, I use, like I said, a gentle breath. So I like to breathe in through the nose and really practicing to bring that breath directly down into our lowest part of the belly. And then letting that belly expand so much that naturally, without force, it moves up through your torso and through that little, it's almost like a little film right there that that accumulates if we don't breathe enough properly. And it does create a barrier, that connection of wholeness. So breathing it down, really letting that belly poke out and then letting it move up, and then you exhale out of your mouth. And it's so gentle. Now you do that. That's how you take a proper deep breath. Notice too, like when we breathe typically in our chest, like my shoulders, we're like lifting all of this up. But when we can properly watch how my shoulders don't move, I'm bringing into my belly. We're filling up our lungs from this way, and it's such a deeper, full breath. And when we breathe into our lower belly, I mean, that's our central nervous system. That is that vagus nerve that is deeply, directly connected to. And so when we breathe in through our nose, that helps to activate that vagus nerve and sends a message directly into our central nervous system that we are cool, we are calm, we are collected. And so that's why when people have anxiety is simply fear of the unknown. I mean, you're thinking like, what's going to happen that I don't know is going to happen. And when you get that deep breath, you're focusing on that breath. And so it brings you to the present moment. And you're like, okay, I'm right here. I'm safe. I do not know what's going to happen, but I know that I'm here right now and I'm safe, and I'm calming my nervous system so that I am not in that fight or flight reaction.
Yeah, there's so many things you're saying that are resonating for me. And one of them is, I remember when I first started doing breath work, and this was like decades ago, when I was like super anxious and not on this path. And I'd be like, but I'd start to breathe and I would get more anxious because I'm like, I'm doing it wrong, right? Like I'm doing it wrong. And there's no wrong, right? But it's so funny because I was like such a perfectionist. And so I was like, no, I have to be the good girl. I have to be the good student. I have to do my breath right, And so it's so beautiful to know now, like that we get to just follow that, right? Like we just get to follow the tiniest little shifts. That's the other thing you said that I love, is the idea of just making sure that your shoulders are kind of back and down when you're doing this. Like that's the tiniest little micro shift that I'm going to bring awareness to, like throughout the rest of my day today, right? Because it's the tiniest little shift, but those are the little shifts that make a huge difference. And that's why, like, don't shy away from this, people. Don't shy away from diving into your breath, because you will find your own rhythm. You will find your own rhythm. The fact that you are taking a moment to place intention on your breath is sometimes enough at the beginning, right? Sometimes that's enough. And it's going to start that process, right?
Yes. And what you were saying about I've got to follow the rules now. What is she doing? What am I doing it right? I'm like, oh my gosh, people, we are such rule followers. And that's thing that I cannot stress enough. And I, even though women, for 3 nights is your adventure, your journey. Let it be yours. It is not anybody else's. So listen to your body, how your body wants to move, how your body wants to breathe, and surrender into it, because that's what's happened. We've gotten so disconnected from that version of ourselves that is telling us exactly how to move and where we're holding stuff, energy in our body, and how to move it. So,
and it's funny because I'll start to do a breathwork practice that I've learned from, other people who have taught me, and I'll start to do it. And I can very rarely follow it because my body takes over, spirit takes over. And what's so cool is that a lot of the time when I do this, I end up learning a completely new breathwork practice that's mine, that's like entirely come through from my guides, for my body, for what I need at the moment. And like, this is how we create change. This is how we create new modalities. This is how we, you know, tap into that novelty that's always available to us through the universe.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
And
Because
it's
you
so fun.
vessel in your own, you are your own soul, you know, like you are one with yourself. So become one with yourself.
Yeah. So how, I know that for you, we talked about like that this has an emotional impact, a physical impact. You talked about that earlier. But how would you suggest somebody who's starting this journey can start to move through some of this or apply some of this so that they can heal themselves at multiple layers?
Well, I think of it as the only way that our soul has to communicate with us is through our body, is through the feelings that we have, the emotions that we have, the tightness that we have. One thing, you know, with me being a massage therapist for over 20 years, like I know the body very, very, very well. And the fact that for all those years, I was so disconnected from the energetics of it all. Like I just did not give myself permission to go there. I was like, they're coming in for a deep tissue massage and that's what they're going to get. Like nobody wanted to hear about the energetics of things. But as you are using your breath and giving yourself permission to move with that breath, like whatever that may look like, that I really don't encourage people to lay there and just like breathe. Or maybe you can start that way, but don't let yourself stay, because I'm always like, it's not nap time. Like we came here to move some stuff. I mean, the whole to do breath work is to move some stuff so that you can connect deeper to yourself. And that requires you getting a little uncomfortable with yourself and moving in ways that your body's not used to moving. Like, even if it feels really funky and you're just like, I don't know why I'm doing this. You don't have to know why, because there's a higher version of yourself that knows exactly why you are moving that way. And it's guiding you to move that way. So surrender into the experience. One thing that I like to do is start with cat cow, because that is like an automatic, you know. So you are doing breath work because it's a connective. Breath work is essentially a connected pattern of breath. So we're not just like, no, like we're working for the experience.
Yeah.
And so cat cow is a great way because you're moving your body and then you can notice like, oh my gosh, my body is tight on my left side or my right side. And I would like to sidetrack on that for a moment between the right and left side of the bodies. Because this has been, once you figure this out, it will give you so much information. So our right side is our masculine energy, and which is the go, 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 the do, 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 be, be, the structure, the organization, the action. And then our feminine side is on our left side, and that's more the ease and flow and playfulness and silliness. And so it's just like, ah, la, la. And this side's like, okay, we got work to do. And most women, because of the patriarchy that, you know, has conditioned us to be in this place of like, we gotta do it all. We've neglected this divine feminine energy, and it like literally like help me. Like so I work with are just so stuck and stagnant on their left side. They carry so much of their pain on their left side, and their right side might even be painful because of overexhaustion. So, you know, this is the way that our body talks to us. So if you carry a lot of tightness and stiffness on your left side, it probably means that your feminine energy of ease and flow is stuck and stagnant. Like you more ease and flow and calm and stillness and things that bring you joy and laughter and, you know, go playing outside, getting the sunshine, you know, getting that sunshine on your face and just creating that space and time for you to receive. Our feminine energy is our receiving side. Our masculine energy is the giving side. So we're really, really, really good at giving, but we are horrible at receiving. And so noticing like the way that I'm doing this with our heart chakra, like with our heart space, if we're constantly like this and we're not open to receive the love that is all around us, even if it's, from our divine team, from God, then that means we are blocked and we're only operating from half of our heart space. And once we can, so that means we're not giving of our full self, basically, right? We're only giving half of ourselves. And so working with the receiving side of the energetics of our body and really leaning deeper into that divine feminine energy that is saying, play with me, like let's play, let's have fun, let's be silly, let's connect back to that version of ourselves. That's when all of a sudden you're open to receive. You're moving that energy. So naturally your heart's going to become more open to receive. And then you're moving from like a beautiful, like give, receive, and it becomes more secret. You're like, yes, I'm giving and I'm receiving. And that's when your cup is fulleth, because, and you're over. And that's where I am right now. Like I healed so much of my past, and like, I'm not scared of the past anymore. I'm not fearful of the future. So I'm literally able to live in this place of inner peace. And when people want to pour into me, I'm like, yes, 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 give me, because I know I just get to pour it right back out. And so it like this, I'm operating from a full heart, but it's only, I'm like, you want to love on me? Get in here. So important because we naturally, I just like most women and men, honestly, that are listening to this, they're like, oh gosh, like I can't receive a compliment. Starting to receive even the most tiny little things. Like I was so blocked, and it started with an experiment of me just saying, when people ask me, offer me anything, whether it is a compliment, a tip, when I was a massage therapist and people were tipping me, I'd always be like, no, it's fine. When people wanted to tip me, I'd be like, thank you. And so my big thing was like, thank you, I received that. Even when I would say, thank you, I received that. And I would really try to receive it. It was very, very difficult in the beginning, but the more you just really are like with your heart space saying, thank you, I received that, you truly are shifting your energy to become more open to receive. And then you go from receiving, a compliment to, living in your dream home because you're open to receive the magnificent that is there for you. So it happens very small, but then it gets like,
exactly. And it's about that devotion and commitment to the miracles, to the magic, to knowing that it's coming, right? Because it can go very quickly if you desire it to. And it can take its time if your nervous system needs that too, right? But I love that what you just described was really what kept coming up was the sacred space. Like you're creating sacred space for yourself when you jump into cat cow and you start to move the energy through and you start to move the breath, right? Like you're creating sacred space for your body, for your breath. And I have to say, what's funny is I think that one of the biggest issues is people don't have the patience for it. They don't have the patience to open up that sacred space and to freaking listen and just say, all right, I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes and just allow my body to move wherever, and my body and breath to move wherever it's meant. Right. And it gets to be that simple at the beginning, right? To just set aside sacred space and allow yourself to just listen and move.
And it has to be intentional, like you dedicate, like you said, devotion. You have to have that time to devote to yourself, to explore, to find out why your body's holding on to stuff, and then giving it permission to just move, even if it's just through, circular movements, or just like honoring your body and saying, I feel this tightness right here. Let me just move and breathe into that. And I don't even have to know why it's tight, but I'm giving this gift to myself of release.
Yeah. I love that. It's a gift to yourself, 100%. And there's the self-love. See, come full circle. Look at that, baby. All right. So where is the best place for people to hang out with you and just say, hi, I love your energy. Let's breathe. What's the best place to connect?
I am most active on Instagram at Vaughn Pierro, and on Facebook, I have my business page that is, Vaughn Pierro as well. So I love stories. I'm in my stories a lot and just give like daily fun stuff to work with and to ponder and think about. But yeah, that's pretty much, I live in Atlanta and I host classes all over the Atlanta area, and I host retreats here, like whenever the download hits me, I
Right.
forward with that. So, and I've got a website that you can check out my events and offerings and stuff like that. I do host like Zoom courses, virtual courses where we come together, and like I just ended a course that was called Open to Receive, and it's literally energetics of moving your divine feminine energy so that you are open to receive. Yeah.
Brilliant. I love it. And all these links are being dropped, guys. So if you resonate with Vaughn, like I always say at the end of the show, just connect and say hello. She's just a human, just like you. She'll receive, and she's open to receive. So give her all your shit, man.
Come on and give me some loving.
Give her some love.
For anything, because I'm clearly so passionate. That's what I like to say, like, use me as an example, because this is all still very new to me as well. Like, let's learn together, let's expand and explore and go together and just see what else is out there.
So beautiful. Love being on this journey with you, friend. Thank you for being here. I'm so grateful.
So much. This was so fun. Great to connect with.
Welcome. All right, friends. So I will see you next week for another episode of Heal Profoundly and Enduringly. Reach out to Vaughn, say hey, and we will see you very, very soon. Have a good one. Bye.